My name is Karl Murphy, the CEO and co-founder of Get Spiffy, and today we have another installment of the Get Spiffy podcast series titled Mobile Service Playbook, where we go inside real-world operations, sitting down with fixed ops leaders, general managers, and dealer principals who are actively building and scaling mobile service. This isn't about theory. It's about execution. Our goal is simple. Take something that can feel complex and foreign to many dealers, break it down into its component parts, and share how it actually works with real dealers. What are the early decisions that matter? What actually drives profitability, and how mobile service evolves from a single van into a scalable operation, driving profits, customer retention, and overall accelerating dealership success. At Spiffy, we have the benefit of seeing across a lot of operators, across a lot of different brands, what works and what doesn't, what decisions that dealership makes to unlock success and growth in their location with their market. And that's why I'm excited today. We're joined by Jake McCluskey of McCluskey Chevrolet in Cincinnati, Ohio, and Corey Wells, the National Fleet Director from his team. McCluskey Chevy has been ahead of the curve in adopting and growing mobile service and recently became a Spiffy client by adding our mobile operating system to help run their growing business. Jake is both a principal and an operator. He is in charge of the mobile operation business. So we're excited to talk both dealer strategy and dealer operations with him, and to talk to Corey about how the fleet operations at McCluskey Chevrolet integrate with and accelerate the success of mobile business. Jake and Corey, we appreciate you taking time to join us today.
Thank you for having us.
No problem.
Hey, so Jake, tell the audience a little bit about McCluskey Chevrolet, sort of what your business looks like relative to other dealers, and then, when did you start mobile, and what was the catalyst to bring mobile into your business?
Yep. So McCluskey Chevrolet, we're out of Cincinnati, Ohio, second generation, a 2019 to 2022 number one new and used volume for Chevy stores. We average anywhere from 800 vehicle sales a month. So with that comes a lot of repair orders and just a chaotic service drive. So being an advisor for 4 years, just running around, your hair's on fire, just chasing these 3 and 4/10 oil change rotates. And at the end of the day, you really didn't get anything done because your phone's getting blown up by customers who cars have been there for a week or 2 weeks and you couldn't diagnose it because you're trying to get these waiter oil changes in. And one question I would always get asked that I just did it because there was no answer: when a customer scheduled an appointment to drop it off to get a vehicle diagnosed, and it's 3, 4, 5 days, 7 days after their drop-off appointment, they asked me, why do I even schedule an appointment? And I don't have an answer for them, just because we're so backed up with oil changes. But I just tell them, it's just a scheduled time to drop it off so we can get it in line, to get it looked at. But in reality, we're just too busy running around getting these waiter oil changes done. So going into work, seeing the Ford dealers pull out their mobile service units, I just knew there had to be a better way to keep this easy stuff out of the shop, so the shop could be more skilled, diagnostic, repairs, heavy engine, transmission. So that's when we really, really started looking into mobile service, especially with EVs. 90% of those repairs take place on the ground. They're just software updates or reprograms. And that was another thing. An EV customer, they would be in a loaner for 2 weeks before an EV specialist was able to get to them. So now we just have a couple trucks that have all the EV diagnostic softwares running around town. So that has sped up getting those taken care of. But just the customer experience was not great, and I hated it. So that's really what made us get into the mobile service, just providing that extra level of convenience and coming to them so they don't have to come in on a Saturday, their only day off, and spend an hour or 2 hours getting oil change. So that's really the main reason we got into mobile service.
Yeah, and so when did the first vehicle hit the lot? When did you guys start deploying that?
I started running a Chevy Bolt about 2 years ago. We upfitted ourselves with the help of Bush, but we got 2 more after that, and then we picked up. We had to get the Bright Drop. While we were waiting for the Bright Drop to get built, this is when to get in the program you had to buy the Chevrolet Bright Drop. But so then we got the Bright Drop, and then we added 2 pickup trucks, then a 3rd pickup truck. Which I'm in right now. We took in a 2015. We couldn't pass up on it. It was like $2,500 trade in. We rebuilt the engine, put a new transmission in it, and we got an upfit on a Colorado. So we're about to, well, if we like it, we'll probably add about 5 Colorados to the fleet. But started out with a Chevy Bolt. Like the idea of electric, running around town, not having to pay for gas.
Yeah, so you're sort of in the 7, 8 vans now.
Yep.
So to call it 2 years, you're sort of 7 or 8, and you got a plan to continue to grow that 3 or 4 vans a year or 3 or 4 assets a year sort of plan.
Hopefully more than that.
Yeah, quicker than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are aggressive. Again, this is a big part of the podcast is hearing from real dealers who are really scaling and sort of our baseline for a new dealer. We spend a lot of time talking. You were unique when you came to us and you had a mobile business and you had a lot of knowledge because you're running 4, 5, 6 vans, right? And so like, you have problems. Hey, I got this specific problem, 1, 2, and 3. Can you fix these? Yes. Okay. Well, we'll be a customer. We spent a lot of time talking to new customers from launch, right? Like I have no mobile. I get that they're in the place you were with customer experience. Hey, it's 2026. We should be more convenient, right? Amazon
Yeah.
does all this stuff to my house. Why can't I do an oil change? Or, hey, much like you, I have this really successful fixed ops business, and we're a victim of our own success where cars are sitting around for days to get service and it's frustrating the customer. So we need to figure out something else, right? So tell the audience a little bit about, try to go back a couple of years, like what was it like going from 0 to 1, and what are sort of the decisions you made that were good, and then what were some of the decisions like, God, if I was back in 2024, I would have done this differently, if I were launching.
So, like I said, we started with the Bolt. What I would do differently, there was actually a video of me, I think it was with GM, but we showed the Bolt and I named like 12 things the Bolt could do. And I called it like the Swiss Army knife. If I could go back and start over, I would say definitely be more lean and just focus on oil change, rotates, recalls, quick diagnostics, and not try and do everything out in the field. I spent a lot of time trying to upfit these vehicles to do as much stuff as they could out in the field, when in reality, mobile service is meant to keep the easy stuff out of the shop and then funnel the gravy work, the repairs back into the shop. So I'd say don't overthink it. Just change oil, rotate tires, scan, check engine lights, diagnose it, updates, recalls, just that easy stuff that technicians really hate pulling into their bay. So
Yeah, great advice. The good news is that's what we tell customers also. What's interesting, the hidden question, right? So when customers come to us and they have this concern about what do we do, where's the demand come from? I'm like, look, we've done 4 million services. There is no demand problem in mobile. There is a fulfillment problem, right? You just need to like get out there and get after it. And you know, I think there's this. So talk a little bit about how you see demand for mobile, because we talk about that a lot to customers, and I think it's one of the big. It's the question behind the question with dealer principals, GMs, fixed ops directors. Like, I got to go buy a van, whether it's a Volt or a van upfit, whatever. I mean, it's 50 to 100 grand. I mean, it's real money, right? And then there's people you have to put into it, and so there's really this question about demand. You've lived through that. Talk about that to the audience. Like, where's the demand come from? You give this like focus thing. I guess the implication is there was a lot of that there. How do we, talk to dealers about demand as you see it?
yeah, the demand. I mean, through the BDC, we call our scheduling team the GRC, guest relations. But your BDC, I mean, they're taking on, I mean, hundreds of calls a day. Ask them first, would you like us to come to you to perform this recall or oil change or check engine light, or would you like to come into the shop? No one's going to say, yeah, I would like to come and sit at the dealership for 2 hours on a Saturday. So that is the best way to just kind of get the word out. But your manufacturer will help offset costs. Ford does $140. Well, I say 140 because we visited Jeremy and the team at Bozard. They're awesome. They rolled out the red carpet for us, kind of showed us everything they're doing. But they round it down to the closest tenth. So if you're $149 an hour, you get 140 for every oil change, rotate. But you had to hang $40 in Motorcraft parts on it. So every oil change they go do, they get $140 before they collect the first dollar from the customer. So that really helps offset the cost of fuel, the labor. But yes, a vehicle costs 50 grand, 60 grand. But I mean, it's way more than that to add on a building to put in 2 more bays or 3 more bays. So no overhead, no mortgage. Yes, you still have gas. So it's, and the other thing is it keeps, like I was saying, all the easy stuff out of the shop. So guys aren't just, I mean, running around like their hair's on fire, trying to do these oil change rotates, but then getting yelled at because they haven't diagnosed the vehicle that's been there for 2 weeks. But yeah, the manufacturer steps up big time because they obviously understand the value of retention and not losing our customers. Because I think it was 75% of customers after they buy from a manufacturer end up going to a Jiffy Lube or a tire discounters, these aftermarket repair shops. And that's, I mean, terrible. So if we can stay in their driveway with a Ford or a Chevrolet, whoever your manufacturer is, I mean, they see the value in that and then gives them the chance to sell the parts, which that's their, I mean, they high margins on parts. So, but yeah, I mean, GM is new in the mobile program. The customer does have to purchase a subscription for the year for $200, and then we get $100 every time we go to a mobile service. The nice thing about the Ford program is you could have bought a Toyota from a Honda store, and if that Honda owner called Jeremy at Bozard Ford and said, "Hey, I need an oil change," and they go to their driveway and do an oil change, Ford will pay them Ford experience money. They'll get $140. So now that Ford repair vehicle, that technician's going to stay in that driveway with that customer, building that relationship. And in 2-3 years, they might be like, you know what? You guys have been awesome. Let me see that new Ford Maverick. I want to try that out. You guys have been awesome for doing this. Toyota doesn't do this or Honda doesn't do this. Let me give Ford a shot. So yeah, the manufacturer is stepping up big time because they see the value in it. But in the meantime, with Ford offering it for free to their customers, after we visited Bozard and saw what it's doing for their shop, we just decided to gift it to all of our customers. So they don't need to pay for it. Doesn't matter if they bought the Chevrolet from us or from a local store. If they call for service, we enroll them for free. The cost of the oil change is the exact same as in the shop. And since we started doing that last week, our average appointments were like 25 appointments a week was a decent week. This week we're on pace to break 100 appointments. So, I mean, that's made a huge, huge difference. And it's made a huge difference in the shop too. And Saturdays. That was one of the big things my manager got with me on. He said, I'm getting killed on Saturdays because these guys work 5 days a week and I got to find a handful of guys that come in on a Saturday and just crank out oil change rotates after they've been doing that all week. He's like, I need mobile to help relieve the Saturday schedule. So it's helped big time there because we're finding out that people don't want to get their oil changed on a Saturday. If we can go to their work or home on the weekday, it's just they come up on Saturdays because that's their day off. So
Right.
the Saturday schedule is dwindling down because we can go their second shift or they can't leave work. So we can go do it while they're a lawyer or a doctor. So but yeah, through the BDC, the BDC, if you're a GM dealer, I highly recommend just gifting it to the customer. We've been trying to sell the subscription, but we're not biting on it. We tried everything, get a free oil change if you enroll. We even tried like the Netflix approach. Would you buy Netflix if it costs you $250 a year? No, but you buy Netflix because you pay $16 a month. We tried to do a subscription. That still didn't work. But yeah, just gift it to the customers, let the BDC have fun with it, and you'll see a lot of success.
Yeah, interesting. Thanks. Yeah, we spend a lot of time talking about profitability and success at dealers in the first 90 days. I think the thing we're waiting for with our dealers who have been around longer is what you talk about, which is this the knock-on effect of more efficient, more profitable fixed operations. Like, hey, my lifts and my mechanics in the building are one, happier, two, doing more relevant work to their skill set. Three, we're just moving, we're moving $1,000 tickets through lifts, not, $100 tickets, because
Yeah.
$100 tickets are on the mobile van. And so it's great to hear that. We tell that story a lot. Um, we're it's it's pulling that data out of the dealers has always been challenging for us. So Corey, what is your role at McCluskey Chevy, and how does that overlay and integrate with the mobile team there?
So basically, I was actually brought in to help launch mobile, get it up and running, oversee the commercial fleet shop as well. So all of it kind of falls under me. Me and Jake we work as basically a three-headed monster between me, Jake, and our coordinator, because what we've got going on, how the program's been scaling forward and moving. Our initial focus to really get things up and running was to attack the fleet-based customer more than the retail side. We knew we wanted to bring retail on, but we kind of used the fleet side as a basic place to start to make sure that we could, really help that customer first. I mean, we're still super focused on that, and we're not going to back off of that at all. But, we're around, I don't know, I think we're probably sitting at about 52 new fleet customers that we do repetitive work for at locations. When we use that to drive work back to the shop.
So you have 52 fleet customers for your mobile business?
Currently, yes.
So that's awesome.
So Karl, my background is I've got almost 15 years plus mobile experience. My whole background is Class 8 truck, trailer, and equipment. It's the world I lived in for a long time. I'm an 18-year diesel tech off the floor, and I happen to have a very unique ability to source technicians.
Yeah, interesting. So keep going. So tell us about the technician thing. That's always a question too for new, right? The 0 to 1 dealer is, I can't hire technicians for my shop. So this is what they say, technician shortage, can't hire technicians in my shop. Where am I going to find guys? My master techs don't want to do mobile. Where am I supposed to get technicians? Talk about how you guys do that.
Your master tech, probably don't want him in a mobile truck. I need him turning billable hours to break in 100 plus hours a week. Do you need to have a very skilled diag tech in one of your units? Absolutely, if you're running fleet for commercial fleet, and also on the retail side, because we're going to run, a level 1, 2, and 3 tech, in our team, because it's got to be a team. You can't say, "Oh, I'm going to hire a bunch of 20-year-old kids that can go out and do oil changes and do that effectively." It's not going to work, because you're going to get to a fleet location with a major diag issue and 5,500 that the construction company can't take off the site, that kind of thing. So you have to have the guys to source of that, and it's just part of the team structure that we're currently running. We do separate our guys a little bit of me and Jake, we have our fleet side and we have our retail customer, and it's kind of actually a selling point. I'm doing a lot of the face-to-face sales right now to get our program up and going with the fleet customer. And, to be honest, I sell it very, very transparent, very upfront. I mean, hey, we've got our Susie Soccer Mom retail on one side. This is John Construction focused on the fleet side, commercial fleet shop. And when you start talking vehicle uptime and the metrics they're trying to hit with their fleet, whether they're working with an FMC or what it is, you can really get the attention of an operations manager from the HVAC location or the large scale construction. One of our customers is 600 plus units within 150 miles of us. So we turn a lot of mobile work for them. We turn a lot of shop work for them. And it's repetitive. That's going to be your biggest thing on your fleet customers, no different than your retail customer. It's the repeat business, and if you have a fleet of F350s and I can give you optimal service on those Fords, and then hopefully, just like Jake said, you'll come in, see my commercial fleet sales team and pick up Chevys and start putting in your fleet. That's kind of a trade-off between us and them. We recently just moved our sales team into our same facility where our commercial fleet shop is. So they're bringing customers back to see me. I'm recommending, hey, our guys in commercial fleet can help with that new vehicle, because every now and then you get the one of, hey, this has got a bloated engine. It's 300,000 miles. You don't want to fix it. Let my guys help you find you a new one. And it works out pretty well. We haven't done that a lot, but I think as we continue forward, we'll see more and more of that.
Yeah, interesting. So you would say mobile is a sales accelerator for a dealership that has a lot of fleet business.
Oh
I
yeah,
believe
big
it can
time.
be, yes.
We talk about, advanced sales tactics for mobile dealers. Like, hey, look, what happens in year 2 or 3 where you guys are? And I'm like, everybody needs a Corey, for sure. And
Definitely.
I think if you're listening, and you're serious about mobile, maybe not year one, maybe not van one, but for sure, Anita Corey, again, I think you're a spectacular profile of someone to be in that business. But just like, hey, I need somebody knocking on doors. You're a mechanic. You can talk feeds and speeds with these guys, right? You can sell them trucks. So what sort of vehicle do you need? But for the average dealer, if you can't find a Corey Wells, you just need somebody who can smile and knock on doors like, hey, I can drive through the warehouse district and walk in somewhere and say, what vehicles are down, what need oil changes. I can come help you, keep your vehicles up. The consumer loves mobile, right? I think everyone in the dealership world across all brands agrees with that today in 2026. I don't know if they agree with that in 2022, but they agree with that today. I will, you guys have said this, and I will double down on this because we do some of this business also. The fleet operator, whether that guy owns 10 HVAC trucks or 1,000 vehicles, they love mobile like 10x more than the consumer because there's so much money attached to those vehicles, right? Those vehicles are down, they're losing thousands of dollars a day in top line. They have mechanics that are making, they have technicians in their space, whether it's plumbing, electrical, construction, that are paid a lot of money. Those vehicles are down, like those projects aren't getting done. There's shortage of those folks, and it's just so absolutely critical. And they have this like fear of, they have this fear that Jake described, which is, I give it to the dealership. It's going to sit there 5 days till they even tell me
Yeah.
what's wrong with it, right? And now it's like, hey, like I can do oil change. What happens is there's this acceleration where you're doing all the easy stuff. I'm doing the maintenance. I'm doing the check engine light. I'm banging out tires, and then all that stuff gets done. And then when they have a real problem, right? Engine, transmission, I got to repair something significant. I need a lift. Then they're willing to actually give it to you because like the rest of the fleet is so well maintained and so powerful. Look, for the audience, I want to introduce Addison Lessing. He is the Spiffy Director of Partner Success. Partners are, we call clients, customer success. He is a team. Once you come on board as a client with Spiffy, his team helps you onboard and train the team to be successful and then to, share our best practices. Again, Jake and Corey had most of them when we showed up because they had a bunch of vans operation and they had sort of lived through that pain and evolution before we got there. But Addison and his team's role is to bring those best practices to the new dealer. And so he has a lot of knowledge. And then it continues, right? So, you know, one of the things we like, one of the things I'm most proud of is that our customers call us partners. Like they're like, look, those guys are really partners. They're not software wham bam, thank you, ma'am, sales guys. Like, hey, here's my check. See you when it's renewal time. Addison's team is designed to help you, the client, you, the operator, power through different problems you're going to have. One, get started, and then sort of, there's just always issues, and time is money, and we want to make sure that you guys are accelerating that. I'm going to give it the mic over to Addison and let him talk to Jake and Corey because he has this ground level experience with them and has more sort of tactical questions.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
absolutely,
Addison.
Karl. Thanks so much. Again, Addison Lessing, Director of Partner Success. Jake and Corey here may be very accustomed to working with a member of my team, Adam Major, who works directly with them, making sure the software is doing exactly what we tell them to do. And to Karl's point, one of the things we try to do is, these guys all have our cell numbers. They can call Adam at any time. They can call myself at any time for any type of help that we can offer, whether it's something from as simple as consulting on the side of how do we make this part of our business successful, or it's hey, like I'd really like for the technology to be able to do this specific thing, like how do we make that happen? And we work through those types of things. Jake and Corey, thank you guys for being here. One of the things I want to start with that I think we haven't actually touched on at all in the series thus far, and Jake mentioned it earlier, is around EV service, right? One of the most challenging things for dealers right now is EVs make up only about 4% of vehicles on the road, 4 to 5% of vehicles on the road. So most dealers typically have one, maybe two EV certified technicians. And that's really challenging the space for like GM, who in my opinion has one of the best diversity of EV products on the market. I maybe am a little biased because I own one myself. but have lived the experience of recall gets issued or there's an update that gets issued, and I'm now taking 4 hours out of my Tuesday afternoon to go sit in the dealer because unfortunately my local does not yet offer mobile, and there is some irony in me sitting in there and like trying to talk to them about like, hey, it'd be a really good idea. But with that said, I think Jake, you touched on that so well, and it's not come up before. Can you talk to me a little bit about what type of those EV services you guys are providing to those customers? Because like you said, I've had that experience. If they're like, it's 2 weeks out, like I can get you in a loaner in the meantime, but it's 2 weeks before my EV tech's going to be free enough to look at the vehicle.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's such an issue. Like before Mobile Service Plus, the program GM started, I was actually thinking I made a little PowerPoint, but GM came out with Mobile Service Plus 2 weeks later. But I was going to call it EZEV, and we were just going to go just take care of all of these EVs because it's an issue for us, all the local Chevy stores. So, but it's programs and updates and very, very simple stuff. And then if it needs a battery, we can get it ordered.
Mhm.
And then once it gets in 2 weeks, 2 months, then schedule the customer in for the loaner. Then they can more accurately do the battery because the parts are there. Whereas before, it's like all these EVs waiting to get in the shop. These 5 were just reprogrammed, done, good to go. This one needs a battery. It's going to be 2 weeks. And I'd have to call a customer as an advisor and be like, hey, yep, your vehicle needs a battery, but it won't be here for 2 more weeks. And they're like, well, you had my vehicle for 2 weeks. Why didn't you just scan it when you first got it and order the battery? So it was that constant conversation. I'm just like, and you walk in the shop and these EVs are never up in the air. They're always on the ground. So I'm like, at first I was like, well, let's just do this on the lot. Why are we jacking around with pulling it into the bay, leave the bay productive and lifting cars and doing stuff that needs to be in the air? But yeah, EVs are a big one. And plus the EV customers, they're the ones that do the banking on their phone. They get their groceries delivered to their doorstep by Kroger. So they're very familiar with it. You'll see they're not going to be too terribly blown away by the fact that you're going to come to them and do the service. You probably won't even hear from them because they'll find your online scheduler and they'll book the appointment, and then they'll be there and they'll have the keys waiting with the person at the front desk. So, but yeah, the EVs, that's a good one, especially with all the recalls. And the other thing that's great with mobile too, we've been doing, when a new recall comes out for dealers, you're going to have 20 to 100 recalls just sitting on your lot. Great practice for your mobile technician to make sure they got the right laptop set up, the hotspot's working. That way they can fail in the lot and not fail in the customer's driveway. So that's another thing that we've been doing that's been helping a lot. And it helps sales because lot techs don't have to go find the vehicle, clog up the service drive to get it written up, to then go sit out back in the parking lot. And a salesperson's trying to show the vehicle and it's like mixed in with cars in for service. And like, is this vehicle broken? Like, is this a lemon? So that's another thing we've been doing. But yeah, EVs were awesome.
So Jake, just that last point you made. So you're training your mobile techs on recalls that are in your sales inventory on the lot to clear
Yes.
them. And then you get the knock-on effect of I keep it out of my shop,
Keep it
I
out
get
of the shop.
on site, I get tuned up, et cetera. That's the story. Yeah. Really.
And
do the
same with
thing our
if you
demo
run any,
returns.
if you run a demo program as a dealer, I highly recommend don't let that, because that's exactly what you're going to see. 2025s with 5,000 miles, 2026s. So if you have a demo program, don't run it through the shop. Set up a mobile technician in the back of the lot and let them do the oil change rotates on those down demos with 5,000, 7,000 miles. That's another great way to get reps in. That way you're not having to practice in the customer's driveway.
No. Jake, you sort of nailed something that we preach a lot, and you guys embody this, and especially in just our conversations today, that's very clear. You treat mobile as its own line of business. You're trying, keep that separate from your shop. Don't, and treat it as such and give the resources to it as such. That's something we preach all the time. And, and I'll go back on the EV thing real quick before I move on, which is, it also ties back into what you guys were saying earlier on, like a lot of the EV stuff is just cake work. It's just, most of the time it's not a battery. If it is, then it's a great job for that master tech that's working on it. Most of the time it's going to be consumables. It's going to be your cabin air filters, your wipers, your rotations. And like these guys, as we all know, master techs don't exactly love seeing that pull into their bay because they're going to get maybe 0.4 off of it, maybe 0.5 off of it. And they're like, a million other cars they could be out there working on to make money. So mobile's a great way to solve that. And now, Corey, for you, what's really awesome is before my role on the software side and on our digital servicing software and partner success team, I was actually director of fleet account management here at Spiffy, where my entire job was work directly with our commercial and fleet accounts that we were servicing as independent operators. And I'd love to hear from you. You talked about this incredible experience and background you've had coming out of the commercial world, mobile service world, and into the McCluskey team and helping them scale their operation. So you talked about there's a very heavy focus on fleet. What would you say is sort of your split right now on fleet versus retail mobile ROs right now? Is that like a 50-50? Is that an 80-20? How's that looking for you guys right now?
If you'd asked me that question 3 weeks ago, my answer would have been 75 fleet, 25% retail.
Okay.
But now that we've really put the push through our scheduling department and our customer experience folks over there, the girls do an excellent job of recommending mobile service. We kind of did a soft launch with it before, but now that we've fully turned that on, I think the first 15 minutes, Jake was over there, came back to this shop and said, "Hey, I'm tracking this. We've been asking this question for 15 minutes." He goes, "We've hung like 19 appointments." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Because I know retail is a huge part. I mean, the guys at Bozark, those guys were totally opposite. They were 85% retail and 15% fleet. But I have conversations with Jeremy is he's actually starting to put some more focus on the fleet customer. And I think he has a lady that's actually selling it, and I'm doing both right now. Don't get me wrong. Do I think at some point that somebody will be able to take over that outside piece, sourcing the customer? Sure. But with my background and stuff, it just made sense of, hey, we're starting a new operation. And it's like, especially if you're doing it before, if you can source and hook up with that customer, because 100% of the fleet customers, repeat business, it's going to be relationship. It's running transparent, being very upfront, doing the right thing by them and the tech and, and the dealership as a whole. This is my first job ever working for a automotive dealership. I mean, I work for commercial shops on the Class 8 side. That's where I was actually a technician at for years before I got into management. But this is a little different here for me. I'm more of a never say no to a fleet customer. So, really focusing on expectation to the customer, expectation to your folks. On the technician side, it's really sourcing the right guy to the customer, especially when it's a fleet-based customer. I've got some of our fleet customers that they're really past the point of even sending an email. They're texting my technician, be like, "Hey, I got this, and this. When can you come?" And which is great to a point. It does affect your schedule a little bit, but it's nice to have that good relationship that they trust that the process is going to flow right to the dealership. They can let their guy, that's what they feel. It's their guy. Know what's going on. We try to source the same guy to the same fleet customer if we can, because I believe wholeheartedly that carries the relationship forward.
Yeah, same on the retail side too. The customers love to get like Brecken. Brecken's customers love him. So he has his repeat customers that request him. So, and it's different this is all new for customers because traditionally they pull into a service drive and they get checked in by an advisor, and who, for the most part, they don't know much about cars. And whenever they ask a question, they're like, "Oh, let me call the technician." So they've never really seen this technician. So now the doctor of the vehicle, is in their driveway, so they get to ask him questions. And so that's another, huge advantage is that the technician is the one showing them the dirty engine air filter, reading the code, showing them the MDI and the diagnostics and asking them questions. So that way, when he recommends a manufacturer suggested service based off mileage, they're way more likely to do it.
Yeah. So for the listening audience, Corey dropped a expert advanced tactic, which is for fleet customers, send the most appropriate technician and sort of align them with a group of fleet customers, right? So, if Tony's HVAC company likes to see Billy, then just send Billy out there and figure it out. There's enough business. People often worry about the demand and profitability, but there's enough business in those fleet accounts where it's, again, as Corey said, they just like to see the same guy show up because they develop a trust with that person, and then they just They end up buying more product, more service. They just there's this brand trust acceleration that very few dealers have seen because they're just not doing a lot of mobile that McCluskey has tapped into, and like I'm telling you guys, like that tactic will, rain gold upon your fleet service business because the good techs are they're so rare, and the customer in today's world where things are so digital, there's this blowback or this opportunity where they just love to see hard work and people show up and grind. Like fleet customer likes to see it. The consumer likes to see it. Like, and if you guys haven't seen this yet, if the weather's nice, they'll get a lawn chair and a beer and they watch. Right? They show up and it's like a cool, like, and you have to, like, one of our basic tactics is Addison team's like, look, this is going to happen. You need to tell your guys not to freak out. And it's really a positive. They're just watching because they're fired up. Right? It's sort of like watching football, right? There is, and it's like this whole, like the whole world's digital and everyone's going to concerts and sporting events because it's the only stuff that's really real. And it's the only stuff that's not really scripted. Like you don't know if the guy's going to catch the pass or not, right? And the same thing happens in mobile service in a driveway. It's like this unscripted awesomeness that comes to their house. And again, you guys are totally dialed in on this, but for the audience, like the brand is now in the driveway. Whatever your brand is, you just send it to their driveway. And they're never, ever going to think about the 15 independents between your dealership where you have 1,000 cars on inventory and all your lifts and their house, because you just put this huge moat up, and the moat is, Billy comes to my driveway from McCluskey and he services my car, and Billy likes to play pickleball and he has a brother in the Marines who's in Afghanistan or whatever. But there, all this stuff happens and there's this knock-on effect of like connection and humanity and brand that it's so hard to do in the shop because the technicians are in the back, there's a service advisor, there's chaos. But in the driveway that happens and it's just so powerful. And I talk about it to owners and they sort of like, yeah, I'm sort of worried about profitability, and I'm like, dude, you just need to get one and see the stories, and it'll happen for your dealership.
Yeah,
let me hit on that for you for real on a second there, because you hit 3 or 4 things there that I think if you're the dealer watching this, thinking about switching to mobile or trying to test run mobile. So there's a couple of things to consider. With one, the technician that fits your program is going to be one of your biggest selling points. So you may have to modify the way you're interviewing those guys. I don't want to have to drag the guy through the interview to get him to talk to me, because if he can talk to me in the room when he's looking for a job, he can talk to that customer. If I want that young kid that's going to go out there and shake the customer's hand. How you doing today, sir? I'm here to do the oil change on your 3500. Do you need anything else? My name's Eric. Tell me what I can do for you, or however it is, same thing if it's a retail customer, and if you want to focus on fleet customers because it's high volume, high return business, do yourself a favor and set the expectation for your customer right off the rip. Don't go in there with, you can do everything. I can do anything you need me to do, because it won't work. Control what you can control. And if that customer says, hey, I happen to run, 10 of these dingo units that have Kohler engines, could you do the oil changes? Sure. We'd be more than happy to do that for you, provided you can get the parts and stuff, because that's easy work. It's more money back into the shop. Now, am I going to take that thing into the shop and rework the bucket and hydraulics for him? No. But if you want me to service it, be more than happy to help you. And that's something else. Now he doesn't have to make another phone call to the equipment company to get that $250 an hour tech on his lot to service that, because, hey, we can take care of you on your small things. You have to be open-minded on it, but you do have to make sure not to let your expectation or theirs get outside of what you're really comfortable providing to that customer.
Yeah, it's a great point, Corey. It's a decision you need to make at the dealer based on dealer strategy, dealer culture, how you define success, and then who's on your team, right? Look, admittedly, we have we have some dealers in the country that service some stuff that like is not remotely close to what they sell, right? But
Same.
they've decided to do it, right? I mean, like, here's the wacky things that will show up in the demand funnel. Boats, RVs, um, tractors, right? Things that are built by, things that are built in Illinois that are yellow and green, right? John
We've
Deere,
done all of that.
Case.
John Deere's, Cats,
Yeah,
Kubotas,
skid
Komatsus,
steers,
link
minis.
belts,
That's what I was
Bobcat.
saying. If I could go back, just focus on whatever brand you sell. Because, yeah, you get to these fleet lots and they're talking to technicians like, hey, can you look at this? Or can you fix this aerator? Can you work on this hydraulic pump? Or our tarp won't go back. Can you fix that?
Yeah, overhead doors, lift gates, right? Thermocline, coolers on tractor trailers. Like, look, and it's all out there. The cool thing is, it's out there, and you just have to, and again, I think Corey. So for all the dealers out there, think about Corey. It's okay to say no, right? Like, it's important just to do great work, and saying no is okay to the Thermo King or to the cat excavator. Look, if you got 100 cat excavators in your customer base, then maybe like you go find somebody who can go do that stuff, right? Like,
But it doesn't hurt to say yes either. If you have
right.
the availability through the technician, but as long as limit down. Trust me, I got a couple of 25-year-old boys out of the country that won't say no to anything. Yes, I can fix it. That's what they tell us all the time. And we're constantly, hey, before you turn one wrench on that, you're going to call me or call Jake before you get too excited. Because, will I replace a serpentine belt on an alternator? Sure, I will. Am I going to yank the cylinder off of a Hitachi 550 at a guy's driveway? No. We're not going to do that. But,
Right.
There's opportunity there. But, like I say, just don't overpromise, because I found that can get you in an issue,
Yeah. Well, so, and to reiterate, you talked about this, right? Mobile technicians need to have some customer service skills, right?
Yes, sir.
No, they don't need to be, an ad sales guy from, Mad Men, right? They don't need to be that, but they need to look you in the eye. So the standard at Spiffy is look me in the eye, smile, say thank you, yes sir, no ma'am, whatever. Just sort of generally be polite. How would you introduce yourself to somebody who showed up at your house for Thanksgiving dinner, right? And then, they also need to be professional enough, and it's like, look, I need to get to work. Because a lot of times the customers, it's sort of like, they went to Jurassic Park or some aliens landed in their driveway, like, ooh, look at these technicians. These are really cool things. They're like, this is a nice person and he's interesting and they're going to do all this cool stuff in my driveway. Customers want to look in your truck, right? Like, what kind of tool? The worst thing is like a car guy who's a tuner with a toolbox. Like, those guys show up, they want to see your tools. They're asking how much air you have in your tank. It's like, which is fine. You gotta talk to the guy. So technicians need customer service. They need to talk. How do you, and then to your point, Corey, they need a little bit of initiative, but they need to know what the initiative red line is. Like, okay, here's gray area, serpentine belts in your example. And then here's red, like, I'm not doing this heavy work. Don't overcommit. We can't do it. We have to deliver 5-star service. Like, if we're not certain about that, we don't want to do that, especially in a driveway. And again, maybe we keep a list and we start adding that stuff down the road, but it is what it is. All right, hey, Addison, we're getting pretty far along here. Why don't you come up with another question or two, and then we'll let these guys get back to taking care of their customers.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, I'll end it with really two questions for you, Corey, and I'll start with the first one. What would you define as a good mobile fleet customer? Who is it that you're going out and looking for when you're expanding that mobile fleet work?
So I think it's, I would use a broad term of service industry. If you could, identify those companies that fall under, as far as, general thinking goes, service industry, your HVACs, your mechanical companies, plumbers, electricians, because, those are the guys that are going to be, Karl said it earlier, $2,000, $3,000, $3,500 a day, because that vehicle's down at the shop. We've had really good success by going to some of our fleets and saying, hey, I know you use X for service, but do you have any recalls or warranty issues you're having with any of your Chevys? That actually led us into one of our great customers. We did 115 recalls for them. They were sending all their warranty work to 2 other shops in town. Now we've brought all that into our shop, and that's led to probably in north of 50 transmission and engine repairs, a very large fleet, which is great because, at the end of the day, does fleet give you more coverage and more service work and basically add more base shop? Absolutely. But part of mobile is driving that heavy work back into your facility, where you can do your large scale work. And I think every dealership has to be in that mindset of, we want the heavy work in our shop. Can we do some brakes and some shocks and some odd and end stuff from the parking lot for the fleet customer? Yeah. And do I think you should open your mind a little bit when doing your fleet customer? Sure. There's more I'm willing to do for a fleet customer at the location than I am for a retail person in the suburbs, just because of what the lot looks like, what expectation is, that kind of thing. But you still have to limit there, to a point. But, and the more you can offer them, the better for you. They're probably going to use you more, but just, find your limits and make sure, like I said, I say this all the time, set the expectation. And one of the biggest things with a fleet customer to keep them happy, and Jake will shake his head 1,000 mile an hour, you communicate faster than anybody they've ever dealt with before. That is as a manager at the companies I've been with, one of the things that I make sure I change when I hit the door is the level of communication. Yes. We run a very group email. So there's Jake, the coordinator, myself, and one of the ladies from scheduling is on it. Our goal is 15 minutes. Yep. I really lean on the guys 15 minutes to get a reply back. And I'm okay with, hey, let me look into this and I'll get back to you. I sent that email myself this morning because Ryan was busy, Jake was busy. I couldn't pull up the repair. I was sitting, just got to get gas. I'm like, it's been like 22 minutes. Let me look into this. I'll get back to you. Because they appreciate it, because now they've been heard. Because every customer, I don't care if it's retail or fleet, has had the experience of sitting on the phone, waiting for the service writer, waiting for a service manager, waiting for a foreman to just get an update on their vehicle.
And that's where the ideal fleet customer, like you were asking, that 25 to 50, 75 vehicles, because they're not big enough to have like a fleet coordinator. So it gets thrown on a guy that used to work on cars and he's been with the company for a while. Hey, Johnny, you used to work on cars. Do you mind keeping an eye on the fleet, make sure the guys get their oil changed? And
warehouse manager,
being the good guy they are, like, yeah, I'll make sure. And then before they know it, it is every day constantly trying to get guys to get oil changes. Hey, you missed your appointment at the local store to get your check engine light. Now he's got to reschedule it. Or the guy did go there and can't get a hold of an advisor. So when you come in, make it very simple for them. It's like what Corey was saying. We do fleet mobile service at McCluskey.com. And on the back end, Corey, Ryan, and myself are on it. And when the guy is like, when you explain mobile service, it's like, this is awesome. How do I get this going? What do I got to do? You just tell them it's simple. Here's the email, fleet mobile service. Just email what VINs need services, what services need to be done, and then when you want us to be there. And that's it. And they're just like, well, I can go back to doing my job now. I mean, there's so much time they picked up, not having to, can I get a couple trucks in for an oil change? Nope, we can't get you until next week. He's just constantly having to call. So when you just say, hey, look, we'll take it off your plate, just one email, and then we'll take care of it from there. And they're like, yes, this is, but the 25 to 75 vehicles, that's like the sweet spot. We found sometimes too big. They got, element and wheels, and it's a little hard to break into those, which we have. We got a couple of those customers, but are really, really loyal customers who love us and appreciate it because we made their lives easier, or that 25 to 75.
Yeah. Such a good tactic. Just find, 25 to 100 is like, I totally agree with you. It's like great advice. They tend to not have their own mechanics, right? They tend to have 3 or 4 shops they go to, and they don't want to, but it just tends to be a capacity issue. And they find somebody to solve problems like a Jake or a Corey, and it's just like they're just so happy to write checks to you, to keep their stuff working. They're insanely happy. It's like $2,000, $3,000, $5,000. Yes, I need the truck up. I need the truck up. I need the truck up. Right.
Yeah. And if they have a mechanic, we'd always tell them, like, if they're like, hey, yep, nope, we're good, we don't want your mobile service, we have a mechanic. It's like, awesome. You value uptime. That's great. Just call us when you need the free warranty stuff done. Don't worry about taking it to a dealership. That'll get you on the lot, do the recalls. They see you're there on time, and then they're like,
yeah,
let's give them a shot. because they're having to hire a technician because this guy quit. Now it's like, I got to find another technician. It's like, you know what? We could actually use that space and grow our business and not have it be a bay and have to constantly hire someone to do it. Let's just turn it over to Corey and Jake's team and just do it mobile.
Well, they have a mechanic because nobody ever showed a mobile, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Fleet manager had a mechanic because that was a solution.
Yep.
I do want to hit one thing here, and with the fleet management companies, there is, there's a way to handle that, but you have to have that internal person at the desk that knows how to manage through and work through auto integrate, through Hallman system, through Element system, identify the repairs, how to play that game, and is there money there to be made? Absolutely. I've even went as far as locally, introducing myself to the folks that run enterprise at the corporate office here. Hey, I've got mobile service. Here's some information. They're not going to tell me who their customer is. They're not, but I can identify that customer when they say, oh no, we source Element or we source enterprise. Hey, great. I'm an enterprise approved vendor. Anything that you're currently headaches are, I can make easier for you. And when I tell that guy who's the ops manager, fleet manager, whatever, that, hey, you don't have to upload it and wait for your vendor to contact you or wait for enterprise to tell you where to go. You're going to send it to me and then not think about it till I tell you it's done. And those guys love it. They absolutely love it because, there's big customers out there. We're doing some work for one of the very largest corporations in the country, and that's 400 units divided up amongst 4 or 5 different people. The repeat work is fantastic. The body work, part of mobile, if you have body shops at your dealership and they're available, you can drive work right into your body shop. I mean, nonstop for those guys, and they absolutely love it. But you have to make sure expectation of the customer is set correctly.
Yeah, excellent. Addison, last question. These guys got work to do. You got one more question, Addison.
Last question. It's the one I leave every dealer that we get the opportunity to meet. And that's if you were to start all over again, or you're to talk to a dealer who's going from that 0 to 1, what is the one thing you would tell them they got to get right from day one?
Communication.
I like it.
Actually, I wrote a response to that question on your sheet here.
Did you?
Yep.
Jake, what would you say? What's from the dealer principal world? What's the one thing you gotta get right?
I would say getting the BDC on board and having them understand the value of what pulling the oil changes out of the shop can do financially for the shop. Figuring out parts. I mean, there's a lot. It's just that's a tough question. I mean, there is a lot I would do different. But honestly, at the same time, I mean, I'm fumbling forward and figuring it out. Because now that I've got it figured out, I mean, it is, like I was telling you guys before the call started. I mean, I tried to go to bed last night. It was 10:30. I put my clothes back on and went back out to work because I wanted to get the guys packed up for today's appointments. And they all rolled up, backed their trucks up. We put all their job boxes in it. They left for their morning appointments, swung back through, picked up their appointments that got added throughout the day. I mean, don't be mad. Don't be mad. I guess that's it. Don't be mad when you fail, because no one has the secret sauce or the recipe. This is all new for all the dealers. So, I mean, fail forward and figure it out, because it's awesome. It's worth it, seeing the customer reaction.
Yeah, as the entrepreneurial outsider to the car dealership world, my perception of the dealer world is it's hard, busy, and under attack. Just competitors. You got a lot, you got, Chevy dealers are competitors, Ford dealers are competitors, Ram guys, right? Independents, right? There's an enormous amount of outside pressure on the dealership today, and it can be a grind, right? And it can be challenging. The guys who are getting after mobile with a good attitude, like you guys, it's such an energizing component to the business.
Yes.
So positive. It solves customer problems that are top of mind. Like, why is the car sitting here 5 days and you haven't scanned it yet? Why do I have to come in for this? That's all this external customer stuff. And then there's I got all these mechanics that are super talented and they're not getting enough hours because of workflow issues that we solve by taking the simple stuff out. It creates new career paths for young guys coming in. Hey, I just got to teach the guy how to plug a computer in and do recalls. Like I can get a guy started, right? And bring this kid in, pay him 20, 22 bucks an hour. And now he's on a path to being a master tech inside of my business. And I can see Johnny, who like, he used to clean pools. He has mechanical aptitude. He's got some customer service skills. This kid in 10 years could be doing my job, right? Or he could be a master tech, or he'd be customer service, or he could be selling cars. You bring in this young talent into the team that has all sorts of, so there's like HR pluses, there's ops pluses, there's CX pluses, there's revenue and margin and gross profit. It's all this good stuff. When I talk to dealers, they think I'm like crazy. And I'm like, you just need to get a little bit of the religion around it. And it's just so exciting going forward. And it's like this adrenaline that you inject into sort of every component of the dealership.
It's a rush. It helps everyone. Advisors. I mean, they have parts delayed or they're waiting on tires. The customer doesn't have to wait for 2 hours anymore for the tires to get there. Hey, go on, get out of here. We have a mobile service unit. Just go back home or go back to work. And we'll put the 2 tires on while it's there. I mean, it helps every facet of the dealership. The call center, customer calls up, mother effing them because he just bought an $80,000 Tahoe and the check engine light's on. Oh, yep, not an issue. Where will you be in the next 30 minutes so we can come look at it and scan it and see what's going on? Oh, I'm going to be at work for the rest of the day. I guess you got to come here. I mean, we go there, the guy's offering us drinks and this is awesome and shooting the shit with us where before he was cussing out the call center. So every facet of the dealership, sales, they just sold a car, tire lights on, transport mode still on, whatever it is. Hey, Miss Johnson, stay at home. Don't worry about it. I'm dispatching one of my mobile techs. I mean, it's amazing. Like you said, it injects, so much energy and life back into the dealership because, you just get beat down in the dealership.
That's awesome. And we're going to end with mobile injects life into the dealership. Jake McCluskey. Hey, my name is Karl Murphy. We're here today with Jake McCluskey and Corey Wells from McCluskey Chevrolet in Cincinnati, Ohio. And this has been the Mobile Service Playbook from Get Spiffy. And we will see you guys in the field. Thanks for listening.